welcome to the Vault Report, Creighton basketball edition. I'm here with Creighton assistant coach Jalen Courtney-Williams. Appreciate the time, especially in season. You know,
Always.
last time we talked, the ball hadn't tipped yet. Here we are. I know it's a little bit of a loaded question, but where do you feel like you and the staff, where this team is at this point on this day?
Uh, I love where we are. I think we're, especially offensively, at least up until our last game. Uh, we felt like we were ahead of where we were maybe a year ago. Defensively, we're still growing and figuring some things out, but we've been able to check a couple of boxes that we want to go into or come out of every game with. But this team is still growing. This team is still growing. There's a lot of games left to be played, a lot of practices left to be had, a lot of film to be studied. But we're excited about where we are and where we're headed.
Absolutely. And I'll start most recently with that game. Like you said, you guys have excelled offensively. You look at that game, is that one of those games, you kind of throw out bad shooting night? Was it more about what Colorado State was able to do? But also, how much can that be a positive, though? Obviously undefeated going into that
Yeah.
game just to kind of have a little bit of a reality check early on, obviously opportunities for growth.
Yeah, well, it's always good to be able to take your experience and learn from it and be able to approach the film room and the practice floor and get better. But honestly, I'll give Colorado State a lot of credit. I mean, everybody knows how well coached they are. They had a really good game plan, and then you turn the page to us. We got a lot of good shots. Honestly, we got shots that we like, and the ball just didn't fall, and it was a slugfest for a minute, and they were able to get it turned and get away from us a little bit. So no, credit to them, and like I said, we were able to grow, and we're excited about the week ahead.
Most definitely. You look at, we obviously talk about the core. You guys have a lot of pieces, obviously. But
Yeah.
starts with Shireman, Alexander, Kalkbrenner, all averaging over 15 points a game. Specifically with Shireman, he's been statistically one of the best guys in the nation, efficiently. He's rebounding the ball well. Beyond the stats, though, what has impressed you about his play early on? Talking about Shireman, early on this season that may not show up on the stat sheet.
Well, his approach, first of all, like he decided to come back to Creighton, and he put in a lot of work, not only on his game but on his body. And that's starting to show itself tremendously on the defensive end for sure. But his ability to get shots off at an even quicker pace than he was a year ago for us. He's always rebounded the basketball. He's always been an unbelievable passer, an offensive connector as well. But the strides that he's taken on the defensive end have been really impressive.
Definitely. And you kind of segue into, you mentioned defensive end. Um,
Yeah.
you guys watch the tape, you're studying film. When you look at your non-negotiables, what you guys are trying to bring on the defensive side, things that you can control, can't always control, obviously, a good shooting night. How do
Yeah.
you feel like you guys, or where do you guys feel like you've been defensively so far? And how much better can you be on that side of the court?
Yeah, no, we can be a lot better. We can be a lot better, and we're working to become a lot better. But you talk about the non-negotiables. Um, we want to take away the three, and I think we're one or two in the country in terms of threes allowed per game, and then we're top three in the country in threes taken and made per game. So that's the battle we usually want to win. We want to keep teams off the free throw line. And we want to take away layups as well. And so we've been able to do those at a really high clip. I think we're up there in the country as well and protecting the rim and not giving up 2-point rim shots as well. So we like where we are, but obviously we can continue to grow. Rebounding the basketball. I think we can do a better job there. I think we can defend the entire clock a little bit better than we have so far this season. But again, excited about the opportunities that we have moving forward.
Absolutely. And, look at upcoming schedule. You got a couple really tough games upcoming, kind of getting to that point where, five
Yeah.
or six games left before you get into obviously the gauntlet of Big East play. But a couple great tests, Oklahoma State, Nebraska, specifically Oklahoma State. Don't know what you've seen from the tape, how much you dived into that, but what do you guys need to do to be successful? What have you seen from them, and what's the focus been in practice as you prepare?
Yeah, well, it's a talented Big 12 team that unfortunately hasn't had their entire team on the court or available to play just yet. And so when that team is healthy, man, I think they're up there with the best of them. I think their record does not show how good that team actually is. And I think the team that we're going to see is going to be one that's either 100% healthy or as close to healthy as they have been. But they push it at you in transition. They really hunt those threes, which again is a part of our non-negotiables. So it's going to be a real battle and test for us, being able to keep the ball out of the paint and stop those spray out threes. But really talented basketball team. And then again, moving forward, there's Nebraska right after that, and then just a slate of games that will be tough tests. And then the last few games that we've had have all been really good challenges for us, and had their own storyline a part of them as well. So again, man, there's a lot of work to be done, and we're excited about it.
Oh, definitely. I'm sure for you guys too, getting back, you've had some time after that loss. How do you feel like, kind of last question, early on, sometimes rotation, finding guys that, connect, play best, how do you feel like as a staff, you guys been able to kind of look at, what lineups have been working and the competition level, in practice? I know fans always think it's games played, but you guys are seeing them in practice. Obviously that's where, time is earned and also rotations are learned. But how
Yeah.
do you feel in terms of the flow of the rotations and lineups?
Well, to the first part of your question, it's always good to have a chance to work on yourself. We got into that part of the non-conference season where we were just preparing. Every time we got on the court, we were preparing for an opponent, and so we kind of got away from some of the day-to-day vitamins, as I like to call them, just in terms of working on yourself. So you come back from Kansas City with an opportunity to have a couple of days to just focus solely on you before you move on to Oklahoma State. So that's been really good. In terms of our team, there's our core, right? The Kalkbrenners and Treys and Baylors of the world, and then Steven. But there's a few guys that play that are young guys. Mason Miller, who was sick and missed those 2 games in Kansas City. But he's a redshirt sophomore. Jason Green, who missed, a really important 6 weeks with a broken hand, who's now back, who saw his first minutes ever in college, our last 2 outings. And then you got Isaac Trout, who's still finding his rhythm and flow in college basketball after redshirting at Virginia and being with us just for this little bit of time. And Josiah Dosler is another guy that's in the rotation as well, who's a freshman. He's still finding his way. So those early games, being able to play them, coach them, and those guys getting to learn in real time has been great. But also, again, to be able to come back after that week, practice, work on ourselves before we prepare for the next team has been awesome.
Definitely. So I know I said last question. I know they did announce Creighton. Real quick, they said, McDermott, obviously they're going to retire his jersey. I don't know,
Yeah.
how close he is with the program. I can imagine pretty close, but, your interactions with him. But just a moment like that for the program, and obviously, a coach and son, a little bit more of a special relationship. But, to have a moment like that to celebrate.
It's special. It's about time, right?
Yeah.
It's about time. But no, Doug is, for people that don't know him, he's one of the best human beings that you'll ever meet. And then, arguably one of the most important players to ever play at Creighton. And he's, what is this, year 10 in the NBA. So couldn't be more excited for him to go ahead and cement his legacy here. I think that's been something that his dad has been trying to work on, but Doug doesn't really like the spotlight and all those things. So I think he's kind of shied away from it a little bit. That plus his schedule. But they finally hammered out a date, and we're excited for him. And quiet as kept, I think he's excited for it as well. And it'll be a really cool moment for Coach Mack as well, to be able to look up and see his son's name in the rafters.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Coach, thank you for your time. Look forward to checking in throughout the season.
Always.
I appreciate it.
Always. Thank you.